All right, here we go. Back with part two. No one's coming to save you, part two. I know you probably think, why did I name this video "No One's Coming to Save You"? Because everybody's like, Jesus is coming. Jesus is gonna save us. I know a lot of people see what's going on in the world today, and they feel like it's the last days. I told you the Bible was true. See, everything you see is the Bible happening. But you got to remember, like I'll give you an example. These people put a statue in front of their United Nations building, and it represents the wild beast. They say it represents peace, just like the Bible says, but it really represents the wild beast with the wings, the lion's mouth, and the paws of a bear. These people know what the Bible says. Could it be they're making prophecies come true? Didn't Charles Taze Russell, a full-time Zionist, move all the Israelites to Israel did he lobby to get their own state just to make the prophecy come true? Now, if you want to call that as, well, the prophecies are coming true, then that's what it is. But if people are making these prophecies come true, isn't it like kind of like fulfilling out a story that was written to keep a guideline going? That's how I see that. So we can't go by things like that. That's why everyone believes in these things. Everyone just believes it's automatically the end times because they see what's said. These people know what was said too, and they have a lot of technology. All right, so what we're going to do, though, we're going to get into part two. No one can save you. No one's coming to save you. Now, he's going to break down some details that a lot of people are not going to really like and feel about this. And like I said, this video is not full belief yet of me. I believe, the funny thing is that I believe it more than everything I've heard. That's why I'm showing the video. Okay, I've heard it all. I've read it all. I've read the Gnostics, the version of the words, telling it from Sophia and all of them. I've read the Hebrew Israelites version of it. I haven't read it, but I've been sitting in the Hebrew Israelites school with these guys that read the Hebrew version or telling me and teaching me. I've read the half the Quran and studied with plenty Muslims. So it's like I've got a vast majority of different histories and cultures of Hinduism and all type of things that I've studied on my own to put these things together. And this seems to be the best story that I've heard so far that makes the most sense out of it. And that's why I'm bringing it to you guys, intelligent beings that listen to my channel here, to hear y'all feedback, to see what y'all think about it. Now, I want y'all to be open-minded here. I don't need you, you have to see what was just said in the last video. We covered a lot of things. Where we come from, who created us. We see that we were created by a group of immortals, not by the one source himself. A group of immortals that the source created us. And we see that they're benevolent beings with nothing but good intentions and love. Never says that they're warriors, never says they're fighters, never says that they avenge people when things go wrong. Now, do they prepare for stuff when it goes wrong? Well, they made you with two different consciences, so, maybe they do. Okay, so we see all these things, and we heard all the civilization stories and how they started and whatever, and you can tie them all to this video, to what he's saying in these videos. You can tie all the civilization starting stories of the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita, whatever you want to look at, whatever you want to call. You're going to see it all ties back to what he's saying, all of it. I've never seen another explanation do that, But so we're going to get right into the video, though, right? Because you're going to see some stuff in this video that's going to probably shock you, make you think double time. And that's what I want y'all to think, double time. Be open-minded, listen to what he's saying, and think about what he's saying.
Was put in place.
Let's go back. I think we must have started too far here. I don't know how that got that far.
Wherever you are on life's journey, AAA Insurance has the right.
Of course, I don't got the elite channel here.
Unusual History Part 2.
Yeah.
These smaller groups of white humans were each placed to live with and among the other three races.
Now, as we left off, remember we left off at the part where they separated the people. They took the dark brown, the brown, and the yellow people and put them together in one spot. And he took the white people with him, the white or pale versions, because they seemed to be more ready to listen and go do what he said and be a part of him. Now, this is where you're starting to see the separation of like these higher up elites from the rest of the world and why they feel that they have what they have and why we're in a place that we're in. See, this ties into all of that, and that's what he's going to break down.
And just as Enki had envisioned, the white humans did whatever they had to do so they would find themselves in a position of authority. It didn't take long, and with the help of the white humans, the mining operations to amass monodemic gold were finally underway. Turning his attention back to the humans,
White
it
people.
quickly became clear to Inky there was no way to
You hear that, white people? Y'all was so ready to help. Some creation that came from us, just so ready to help. But I love my white people, though.
actually detect the soul while it was inside the body of the human beings. It frustrated Dinky to no end. He had gone so far as to take 13 human wives and father a large amount of children.
What?
Half human, half Anunnaki. His intention was that if he could not achieve
13 human wives, huh? Maybe that's where the Africans get their idea of polygamy and all that. Because all this started in Africa. Remember, they brought them and put them in Africa, all the people? See, it all adds up. It all adds up.
the mortality, he could produce children that could. However, it was this phase of experimentation that nearly took Kinky from the grips of sanity to an obsessed maniac. There was no way to know if his experiments worked. The soul was no more detectable in his children than in humans. Whether he had been successful or not, Enki would never know. It was at this time Enki made his most crucial discovery. By chance, he stumbled across some undiscovered information stolen from Eden. Vital information about the soul. He learned the soul was, in fact, a tangible item. It could only be detected and seen after the death of the human host. It appeared then as it traversed the universe on the trip back to Eden. It became vulnerable in the form of light. It didn't take Enki long to create a plan to confuse, distract, manipulate, and erase any lingering recognition of their soul and its purpose. Enki didn't want the knowledge of who they were, why they were on Earth, and what the purpose of the soul was, creeping back into the minds of men. He would give them a new and totally different understanding to live by. It was the act of leaving the one, which number 2 had done in the early years of creation, that gave all creatures something called free will. Free will would, in the eyes of Enki, become the most favorable of gifts bestowed on creation by what had become known as the six-headed beast. And Enki was prepared to take full advantage of his creator's many gifts if it meant immortality. The children of Enki were a powerful group. They had no soul, but they did have some of the strengths that made Enki such a powerful creature. One such...
So we see now, okay? This man's drive to find immortality, has driven him crazy. He started doing other things and getting attached with the humans. Sounds familiar? Sound like the Nephilim story in the Bible? Sound like the gods who came down and messed around with the humans? Sound like that? Well, he came down, but we're under the force of a tyrant scientist, of a tyrant alien scientist who took over this planet with his goons. And he knows how to manipulate our genes. And look, he erased our history. And he's just trying to... We're living our daily lives doing what we do. And this man is messing with us and shape-shifting to become like us, to manipulate our genes, causing weather problems here and all that. All that just to make us forget who we are. And look at us today in this world. Nobody knows where they came from, where they're going. Well, I can't say nobody, but, majority. We could definitely agree the majority don't. All this stuff is making perfect sense to me. Why do the white people hate the black people when the black people were here first? And we all figured this out already. The original people came here were the blacks. But yet the white people hate us and they take power and do all these things and always look for privilege. And this is not every white person. You know what I mean by the white people. Just like I say when I say the ninjas or the blacks, But I'm just saying, all these things are right here in your face.
Quality they acquired was a lifespan much greater than a human. On average, these children would roam the earth for up to 5,000 years. Another was their size and strength. The males in particular reached heights of 10 feet, weighed nearly 800 pounds, and had the strength of 10 men.
Dang.
The reaction of the
Could that be why the Bible says that these were the men, the heroes, the men of renown? Because Inky's alien children were giants and produced giants? Is this where the giant story came from? And is this why all the mountains that we see I don't know if you guys ever did your homework yet so far, but go check out the mountains that are giants and see all the giants that are laying as mountains and all the animals that were giants back then that are laying as mountains right now. And you'll see that there's the proof that these things are around. The skeletons alone, they should prove to you that these men, he just gave you proof. These men weigh 10 feet, 800 pounds. That's a lot. That's real descriptive. You know, and they went around tormenting people and stuff. Now that he knows that death causes it.
Population towards these massive creatures, the
ancient Egyptians.
All right, so the Bible tells you that these were the heroes. These were the men of renown, right? When the Bible makes them look like they were heroes, basically, though, just saying they were big and strong, you know? And they would walk around taking wives and doing whatever they want, eating people at times because food was running short. You know what I mean? So this is all a bunch of tyranny. You thinking that this has got something to do with God and his children when it's an alien race of people and his children. One being. Oh, excuse me.
Gave Enki the idea which ultimately resulted in our current state of world affairs today. Enki had his children roam the earth in search of the worst human beings alive. It was now apparent just how wrong some of Enki's experiments had gone. Murderers, rapists, thieves, and tyrants made up a decent part of the population. When they found these offenders, they made an example out of them and slaughtered them all. The children of Enki told the remaining humans the type of behavior these bad humans displayed was against what they were willing to accept as allowable from this.
Sound like somebody you know? Sound like those Israelites with Yahweh? Maybe that's where this story came from. And since Yahweh is his real brother, you know, because Yahweh is Enki's real brother, not the Bible's God. The Bible, Yahweh and God, is a made-up fable story. We know this because it comes from their stories. It comes from the Anunnaki's personal stories of when they tried to make the humans think that they were the gods. See, the Anunnaki, if you ever read their story like I did, right? You got to do these homeworks on these things. You would know that they came here acting like they were the gods and creating us. But it tells you even in their story that we were already here as humans, though, and they just manipulated our genes. So this all fits in right here. He tells humans after getting rid of people, killing them, and making examples of people, this is what we want you to live like.
Point on. The children of Enki claimed their role as gods amongst men. They presented their absent father as the one, creator of heaven and earth, and promised anyone who crossed them or their father would meet the same fate as the many men they had recently slaughtered.
Catholics, huh? Sounds just like the
Catholics. The humans began to cower in fear at the sight of these massive half-humans. And they would go to any length to secure the favor of these gods if they could. The reason Enki was going to such great lengths to deceive the humans should be of great concern to every human alive today.
Yes, sir.
Enki had been successful in his attempts to capture a human soul as it ascended to Eden. He formed the grid over the planet.
The firmament.
What he learned from this was, and still is, a very frightening prospect which affects us as human beings to this very day. Enki had found a way to harness, drain, and absorb the unique type of energy the human soul contained into his own system. And by doing so, Enki had secured the lesser version of the immortality he had sacrificed so much of his sanity to while searching for the secrets to living forever.
Okay, very key right here. Very key. See, this is like a movie, man. This man is getting more smarter and smarter. It's like the demon, the villain who's getting the power and look like he's going to really accomplish what he's trying to accomplish in the movies. Like Thanos getting the glove, right? Enki has got all this power. He finally sees that it has to be death to make their soul go out. They can't just have it and use it when they want. It got to be death. So when he sees that, he puts a grid over the earth a grid, meaning he controls some of that part of space or whatever, which they have the power to do from their creator, right? He controls the space, and he puts a grid, which is like the firmament that everyone's talking about today. That firmament, yeah, right. Meaning there are other planets and places out there, but he put a grid over it so that the soul can't go back to Eden, can't go back to your consciousness. And he can trap it, and he found a way to utilize just your soul to keep him alive, not to be immortal, because he can still die if he don't take souls, if we find a way to break free. But the longer he keeps your souls dying and coming up and generating, the more he stays alive with his family and his sons. They get to eat and feed off of that. So you wonder why so much death around, why you wonder why in the Bible he had to go around killing all those nations, Yahweh, Jehovah. Yeah, his brother Enki had to stay alive once he found out what kept him, what can keep him alive. He can use some of our soul energy to stay alive longer than his family members and brothers, which are probably all dead right now. And he's probably the only one living with his family, and it's probably a new order on Nibiru. So you got to look into all of this. It's all fitting in. It all fits.
All he needed was an endless supply of human souls to drain and absorb, to consume. For as long as he can secure a steady supply of human souls, ENKI will not die as long as the elite control the system. In their true form, the Anunnaki were not small creatures. Enki was a foot taller and 100 pounds heavier than the largest and most powerful of his children, Zeus. In his full Anunnaki dress uniform and in his true physical form, Enki presented himself to the occupants of Earth. The weapons of mass destruction Enki possessed gave credence to the claim he made to the population in each location. He appeared as he demonstrated his powers for emphasis.
Of course you're going to be scared.
Region by region, Enki visited all the occupied territories around the world in support of what his children had recently established. The world's very first religion. Enki was determined to be their god.
Thanos.
Their creator and judge. And ruler of all.
So we see Enki and his sons were all around the world promoting themselves as gods because they had strength, size, and power, and ageability. They had longevity in their lives, longer than the average human, even though we go to another place when we die. You know what I'm saying? So they use this to manipulate and fool us and control us. And throughout all different parts of the world, they started spreading religions according to those people and what they wanted them to believe. But overall, the same group of people, given the same story in different forms. That's why you'll hear the Muslims say, no, it was Abraham and they came right here. That's why you hear the Africans say, no, they came from down space and they landed here and whatever like that. Then you'll hear the Bible say, no, God created us from space and made us, which is aliens too. All of it is just aliens that came from somewhere else and made us and gave us things and know stuff. That's all it tells you. All these cultures are saying the same thing. That when some of them came down, they were rain gods, moon gods, or whatever, because these beings had to make all this crap up. They had power of the weather and all of that. So back in those days when it first started, you know, even though we were halfway there, you know, these things are weird to the humans because all they do is do plants and they know how to do animals and stuff. So all this control of all these things these people had made them believe they were their gods, plus all the scientific things Enki was doing, like freezing the planet, splicing the DNA. He went through so much things that got us finally under his control as humans, eons and hundreds of thousands of years later. And here we are today. Watch, though. I'll let you keep watching.
The concept took its place immediately in the minds of the population of Earth. To disrespect the one or his many children meant certain doom. But serving them with your life and living to please the one meant great rewards here on Earth.
Sound familiar?
And also in the afterlife.
Sound familiar? Follow me or die, the blessing and the malediction. If you do follow me, I'll give you everything you ask for. If you don't, you die. Come on, dog. That's the Bible right there, ain't it? That's the whole theme. Isn't this Yahweh's brother, Enki? Weren't they the first ones mentioning Yahweh's name, calling on Yahweh as a god? So that's the proof right there. They have it on cuneiform. They have it on walls. You can't deny that. It's older than anything around. So they were the first ones calling Enlil Yahweh. This is his brother, the tallest and the biggest out of all of them, and the smartest as a scientist who runs our planet. Now, to this day, acting like God.
Enki painted a beautiful picture to the humans of eternal life with him. He explained the nature of the human soul and how it was a part of the human experience that could live forever as a guest in his kingdom. Next, he explained the nature of free will.
Manipulation.
To gain entry to his kingdom, which is called heaven, a conscious desire had to be spoken aloud, expressing a request to exist in heaven with the One.
Look, pay attention. This is deeper than it sounds. All y'all out there naysaying or whatever, thinking, nah, that's not, they don't listen to none of this. Listen, you need to listen. I ain't never got up here and kicked no trash to y'all. It took me a hard minute to put this video out there because I had to analyze and overanalyze and think, even though it didn't take much thinking because I already was on this level here of thinking. Already feeling like this was something like this. But he just put it in plain perspective for me. Like I said, I don't even know who this person is. I just know the channel. Every time I check it out, they make a lot of sense. I'm always going to go with the sense makers. But yeah, pay attention to this part right here, y'all. Everyone that's thinking we going to this heaven, they going to this whatever, this man done created a realm called heaven to keep these humans in control. Because now I know how to stay alive and feed off of y'all. Now all I got to do is just trick the game.
The humans were made to drop to their knees in front of Enki and pledge on their life to abide by the rules he had created for them to live by.
Finally got the humans under control.
And so it began. And for the next 4,000 years, Enki and his children solidified their strong hold on the human race. Like their father.
4,000 years, that man said. We done went from 150,000 to whatever now Enki here for the next 4,000 years as God reigns. When did he give us the Bible? Because he gave us the Bible now. He gave us the knowledge of God. He gave us the law. He told us now we got to do these things or die. And he reigns for 4,000 years after that. Think about that. He puts people in high places in charge so he can keep the system going. Because like you said, he don't got to have the knowledge of where you're going no more. He'll settle for just being able to harness your energy when you die and recycle you back to the earth. Because that's what happens. You go back to the earth. Remember in the first video they told you when it was a different state. Now you could just die before and go back to your natural other side of your conscience. Now it's different odds because of what happened. It's a whole nother ballgame. You have to earn it. You know, and Enki knows that, and he don't know that part, but Enki knows that he can keep recycling your soul because you come back here for some reason. So when he want to make you die, make you believe your whole life someone's coming to save you, then when you die, he finally gets your soul and you come back here as something else. Yeah. Don't let it sink in too slow.
The children of Enki took human lovers. By the time the first of Enki's children had grown old and died, Enki's family had grown to be enormous. By the 5th generation of breeding with humans, Enki's grandchildren had taken on the human form and were indistinguishable from the actual humans. Under Enki's guidance, his grandchildren would tighten the hold on humans by introducing governments and the church to all of mankind. Each with its own design to control how the humans live their lives.
See that? They started making governments and different religions for the areas. See what I'm saying? To show you how to live your lives. All his children. Now, his children were abundant. We're not talking about his original children that were giants. We're talking about the ones that mingled with the humans afterwards. You know what I'm saying? The ones that mingled afterwards and started after generation started even to become the humans. Like no more giants in them. It's starting to fade out. But they still have the power and the influence and the same agenda over the times to keep it going because Enki is still around.
The world was separated into manageable sized sections called countries. Borders were drawn and several kingdoms established within each country. The most influential of Enki's extended family were put in positions of power to rule over the entirety of each country. A hierarchy of control over all the humans was put in place,
What y'all think this
all to
hierarchy is,
secure
y'all?
Enki's place at the top of it all. The One. And to this day, though we don't realize or accept it, the descendants of Enki's children continue to hold control of the world,
Who y'all think that is, y'all?
and they still have no souls.
Why, you ever
As
wonder?
observant, intelligent, and
You ever see what's going on today, right? You wonder why how they allowing people to run into people's houses, or bring your family into my garage and live in my house after I did without my permission, and I can't kick you off my property now. Now you're letting criminals out of prison. You're letting all the LGBTQ community be more than what it is, and you're messing it up for the real people who have issues with that type of thing, or who just want to be free. You're making it a political thing. This is all these people. They've been wanting to do this for years. They've actually have been doing it for years. We just didn't have the cameras and technology we had now, and they've been hiding under wraps. But all your celebrities and entertainers from back in the days, from Bob Hope to anybody to Bob Dylan, they've all been part of this organization that he's talking about right now, controlling the masses. The Catholic Church, all of them, it's all been here for that. So it's not just nothing new. That's what I'm basically saying. It's nothing new. This has been going on for the longest. This control over the masses, having everyone believe in the religion, making religious wars fight. You know who controls all these religious wars and people, these higher ups? They fund the wars on both sides to keep this violence and anger going, to keep this confusion going. They have other religious people that fight with others because there are NPC bugs in the system for them to do that, to keep you guys at war and just keep bloodshed going so we can get these souls popping. Let them keep believing in their savior who's coming back to get them, who's been 2,000 years dead now and hasn't come back to get them. Let me explain something to you about love, okay? Love. I know what love is. I don't need God to tell me what love is, okay? I know I love my children. And I know if anybody would put a finger on my children while I got the power to stop my child from getting hit by a car, going whatever. I don't care. I'm not. Like, I got the power to stop my child from getting pain, any kind of pain, and I don't do it. What father am I? No, really. What type of father am I? I'm gonna sit there and watch my child go through struggles in life and pain that I have the power to stop, but don't. Now I know you have to let them make their own mistakes, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let them make their mistakes, but I'm not gonna let them go overboard. And I believe that after all these years, we're seeing babies dying and people being killed and slaughtered out there. Where's the caring love of the Father? Where is that at? Yeah, the Bible tells you that people are going to say that because it's common sense after we know that how bad and harsh you treated us. That all you got to say is, look, people are going to think I'm not coming, but I am. That's all I'm just saying. What's true love? Sitting back and watching stuff go along with the power to stop it?
cautious as Enki was, it turned out he wasn't quite as secretive as he thought himself to be. Another member of the Anunnaki had discovered why Enki had gone to such extremes, creating this elaborate system of control over the humans.
See that? His other peoples didn't even know what he was doing. They're like, yo, Enki, why are you so obsessed with this earth? We just came here to mine the earth, use these people to get the minerals and fix our planet. Why you been here for ages? Why you been here for eons? What's going on? So one of his others found out about it.
Marduk was an outcast.
Marduk.
And he hated this planet. He was looking for a way to seek revenge on the human race. Like most deviant
Marduk?
minds, he blamed all things, except himself, for all of his problems. When Marduk discovered the secret Enki was keeping, he documented everything, including how Enki was taking credit for all creation and falsely claiming to be the one.
Falsely claiming to be the one. Yahweh. going around killing everybody. See, we got the Israelites using Yahweh's name that he's going around as the main God because they know the Sumerian story. All humans around the earth at this time, where the Bible times, know the Sumerians are the first ones with the story of Yahweh. Enki now is taking his brother's name and acting like his brother, saying that he's the one, not the main source out there. He's also incorporating the main source of creation too as the one with Yahweh. He has no beginning, no end. He made it all together as him though. And using his brother's name going around and doing all this killing and slaughtering.
Mordek used the evidence he had gathered to blackmail Lenki into providing him access to the technology so he could consume souls and become immortal as well.
Hey man, you trying to
As
get off,
miserable,
bro. Let me get on.
angry,
What's up?
And pissed off at the world as Mordek was, there was no surprise in the way he chose to win possession of the souls. He played on the worst of the human traits that had developed in the unfortunate victims of ink.
Have you ever tried Wix or Squarespace?
Man, so now you got another God who's messing with us, playing on our negative emotions or whatever, because he's just a negative being, period. He's the type of brother God that he blames everybody else but himself for his problems. So now, is this possible, y'all? Can a God... Look, we seen the main source was lonely and made another source to help. Can these gods go through emotional trauma? Y'all think they're so perfect and that God cannot make a mistake because you were taught this. But is it true? Is it really true? Do you know that God does not get lonely out there all them eons of years and decide to make himself again and just said, damn it, I don't care if it messes up everything else in the whole universe. I'm lonely. I'm in a position, a disposition right now. Do you think that ever could happen, that it really did happen? Why not? Who are y'all? Do y'all around there to know that? No. So do we know if we have just a bunch of emotional gods and aliens controlling us? No, we don't.
Manipulation. Traits like greed, anger, jealousy, and corruption were Mordek's signature approach. He would provide material riches such as money, gold, precious gems, and even sultry women, and offer them a life of gluttony, control, and power to turn people away from Enki's promise of eternal life in heaven.
Sounds like a group of people I know.
Mordek painted his own picture of an awesome place to spend eternity, which also would attract its fair share of humans. Like Enki, Mordek had succumbed to the beauty held by the women of Earth. He too had a large family.
Sound familiar? The beauty of the women of Earth. These aliens succumbing, these gods that look like us and succumbing to it. Huh? Does it sound crazy how now we got two fake gods fighting with each other, putting us into more of a psychological bind of BS? Now he wants to make all the negatives come out, right? Doesn't it sound like a group of people that offer you these things in the music industry? All these rappers, cars, hoes, women, and all these things. Excuse me saying hoes, but all these girls and all these things, they offer you the money, the riches, and everything, keep promoting the violence. Isn't that what's going on today? Doesn't it sound like their same attitudes? Okay, these are these people. This is what they're about. We're just the futuristic form of today of it. But they're the same people in control of the same thing. You see now, we're between two gods now fighting over power. Like, don't make me tell your whole secret. I will tell your secret to the humans that you're just using them and whatever. All right, give you power, whatever. And then you start in your own group. Now you got humans going to you, going from Enki to you, fighting for Enki, saying, no, now they're going to war with each other. And both of y'all are liars and fakes. Yeah, humans, step into get out that box. Get in. This is why I put these videos here.
Of part human, part Anunnaki children and grandchildren. He brought them all together. But rather than operate like Enki and create an opposing faction of towns and cities of their own, Mordek decided his approach would consist of infiltrating and corrupting the system of control Enki had established from the inside out. In response, Enki had the church chat a story that told of a fate worse than death for those who would take up sides with Mordek.
Hell.
To join with Mordek meant your soul would burn and be tortured forever in a truly evil, sick place called hell. And just as this battle for human souls really got going in full swing, it came to a sudden stop. In a stunning display of Creator's intense capability, The one appeared suddenly out of thin air. In the next instant, swooping from the sky came a small fleet of spacecraft which landed very close to where the one now stood. From inside these crafts, a group of representatives from Eden stepped foot on the soil of Earth for the first time in hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
Sadness turned quickly to anger as what they saw around them sunk in. They wanted their planet back. But with something as complicated as the one mediating the situation, it would not be as simple as forcing the Anunnaki out. The one saw opportunity for a test of strength between the soulless creation of the six-headed beast and his very own creation, the residents of Eden. It was the humans the one wanted put to the test. Creator had approved the original design of human beings, but now had some serious doubt about the integrity of this mutated creature that was really nothing like it had started out.
So you see, right? He put us out there, the one now. So boom, check it out. It's like a movie, like I told you. The one comes with the creators, right? He comes with those immortals. He finally decides to do some work. You know, I guess the one source who separated to 25% early in the beginning, first part, he's just whoever he is, not good or bad, not male or female. You know, like I said, we just saying he to give him a name or whatever, or a preference. But, you know, he pops out of the sky with these beings and it lands on Earth like, yeah, I dare someone to come try me, test me, anybody. It sees what it sees and doesn't like it. It doesn't go approach Enki right away or whatever, or go seek him out. I guess it just says, okay, it would be difficult to do it this way. Plus, I tested the humans to see what this was going to do. And look, the humans are good, okay, but these new beings that were created over these humans you guys created, whoever's did this is what I'm worried about. This is what I need to be testing out. And that's what he says. So he leaves and they're going to, you know, go after it because they want their planet back, whatever. So I guess they had to go to the one source to get him out of his funk, to bring him there and analyze. Because, you know, you made another number 2 of yourself. You haven't been checking on the galaxy, so you came to see what was going on. This is making a lot of sense. It's all the Bible. It's all the same stuff. It tells you it, but in the further, deeper context. And to be coming from some guy who says, let me tell you the story how I heard it. You know, I don't know. I can't knock this man so far, whoever he is.
To be. There were great concerns about gifting immortality to such an unstable life form the humanoid had changed. Thus it now has to prove itself.
So that was our test, y'all. That was our test of proof, y'all. We all got the Bible. Oh, we want to make it to heaven. It's our test. No, our test of proof with creation was, do we want to give them full immortality? We see they can create. We see they can take care of the planets and watch the seeds and the animals grow and go do it on other planets. So can we give them immortality to become like us, to keep this going? You know, and before that got to happen in full extent, these beings that, you know, happened, you know, because the creator, the one, he separated himself all throughout this process. He separated himself and all this stuff happened. This is the beginning of a bunch of new stuff for, you know, 2 beings with disagreement. It's the first time in the universe for that, and the first time in the universe for someone with freedom of will. So it's a whole new ball game now. You know, once the one got out of his depression and finally came around, you know, he sees that this is crazy what he's caused.
To ensure these humans were put to the test, the one decided that the Anunnaki would no longer be allowed to reveal themselves in the flesh to humans. Both Enki and Mordek would have to go into permanent hiding or leave Earth. It was up to them. The residents of Eden were given the same restrictions. They were not permitted to show themselves to the residents of Earth. They had to find a way for the humans to see what was happening and what had happened in the past for the world to end up going from what it was to what it is now, today here. Enki was quick to approach Mordek. With all that was at stake, the 2 opposing Anunnaki warriors decided to join forces and unite their families who were permitted to stay on Earth. They had no souls, so were of no interest to the one.
They had no soul, so they were of no interest. But he permitted them to stay there, though. You see that? He permitted them to stay. See, our source right here is a different being. He's not the Bible guy who cares and loves and sets the rules. He has his own set of rules, but he does them when he wants. You know? He just let them stay. Yeah, let's see how this goes, man. Ain't that what the Bible said? He let them stay with the wheat, the harvest, because he didn't want to pick them up together. Right? Ain't that the Bible?
Went into hiding. Enki, on the other hand, used his ability to shapeshift one last time, as he too disappeared from the face of the earth, never to be seen in his true form again. Enki transformed himself into a fertilized embryo in the womb of a descendant of his own family, a young woman named Mary.
Listen, guys. Chill out now, okay? Everybody calm down. Calm down. Just calm down, okay? Okay, he has one last chance to do any shape-shifting. You can't be yourself no more. You can't come here, or it's going to be in your real form. You're not going to come here in human form no more as your regular self. You get right, you figure a way out to go hide and do whatever, but you're going to stay away from the humans. We're going to regroup them and bring them back to what they know. All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do that. I'm going to use my ability one more time, though. And I'm going to go ahead and get inside this woman, Mary.
9 months later, Enki was born into the world as a human baby.
No husband. I just put myself
in
her.
A baby with no soul of its own.
I put myself into a woman. She's a virgin. No man, no husband.
A baby named Jesus.
Oh, Lord.
A baby that would forever enslave mankind and provide himself, and more to an everlasting supply of souls. At least that was the plan the two Anunnaki had come up with after being confronted by the One. The Centurions from Eden were a smart bunch. But this type of mental warfare was not their strong suit. The Anunnaki had the advantage since deceit seemed to be the spirit of this contest. They were not without some tricks of their own, however. The residents of Eden had already captured several humans and began the complicated process of reversing the genetic manipulations that Enki had performed. It turned out to be impossible. Much of what Enki had done was now a permanent part of human life regardless.
Irreversible.
They had a plan B, and once more the humans were subjected to further genetic modifications. It was a tricky process. The human host had to physically die. Then their soul was captured and manipulated. A jolt of electricity was then used to bring the human back to life. And that was...
Defibrillators? Maybe. Defibrillators back in those days?
The altered soul returned to the body. The body released back to where it was taken from, unharmed. This method wasn't the quick fix needed, but in the long run, it would be more effective. This addition to the soul didn't change the person who received the upgrade. It was designed to create change in the offspring of the recipients. It was a process that would take a very long time, but it would eventually produce some very different humans. They would look the same as everyone else, but their hearts and minds would be far more in tune with the needs of Mother Earth and her occupants. Their empathetic values would outshine common man.
Here I come, y'all.
And in the early part of the 1900s,
you heard talk about me.
The very first indigo soul arrived on Earth, a quirky Australian man named Daryl Flynn. The long-awaited results started to trickle in, until the late 1960s, when the first main wave of indigo souls were born into this world. And every year since, I'm sure as indigo soul...
I'm just joking. I don't know if I'm an indigo soul, y'all. I'm just playing. But I know I'm one of those chosen ones, though. I bet you that.
...was matured and began having children of their own. The crystal children began to rise. The crystal children are to be the witnesses to a great global change.
The crystal children. Huh?
It's their duty.
Are these those children, y'all? Somebody in the comments tell me. Are these those children that we seen in front of that bull when that bull came out at the Olympics? That big old bull, and they all had those crystals. Is that who these people are?
And role to document what takes place.
They didn't see like they were on the good side.
They will use the knowledge of their journey to create a better way of life for the future.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, man. It's some weird stuff. Like I said, I don't think I'm one of these children that they talk about. I never held no crystals, whatever. But but I do think I'm a chosen one, man. I fit all the bills, you know. I'm a black sheep of my family. I don't really talk to nobody, you know what I mean? And I wake up certain times in the morning every day, full of energy, ready to go. You know, I do know stuff that people just don't see. I can see things that just people don't see. I don't know. I just feel like, you know, I fit all those and other things, amongst other things as well. You know?
Never again will people suffer the fate the human population has endured so far at the hands of Enki and Marduk. The union between the children of Enki and Marduk was very powerful and very corrupt. For almost 2,000 years, they have worked hand in hand to ensure the secrets and lies of the past stay buried. The church knows all the lies. It's their role to protect Marduk and Enki and keep them alive by ensuring a steady stream of our souls to arrive to be consumed.
They sure do.
It was also a key component of the plan to...
I mean, right? They were, right? That's what this Catholic Church did, right? They kept the word to themselves in Latin when they first got it, right? They tricked the words around with the Council of Nicaea, right? They switched up stuff and made their own books, right? They pushed it on the people with crusades and murdered a bunch of people, right? They prayed before the soldiers of World War I and World War II and all these things and every other world war. They prayed for over their soldiers that God will give the other country into their hands for murder, death, kill, right? Ain't nobody says don't go out there and pray. They prayed over the soldiers to go fight, right? We seen all of this with the Catholic Church and all these things with these secrets hidden and all of this stuff, right? But don't we see today a flourishment of knowledge around here, right? And doesn't the Bible tell you this too, right? There's going to be knowledge spread in the end and things going to come around. People are going to be wise. The kids are going to dream dreams. The old men, right? See visions, stuff like that. Okay, so we see all this stuff happening, right? Which can prove the Bible correct too, right? All of it. But it all proves to make sense the happenings of what things happen when things like that happen as well. So you don't want to jump too close. That was the Bible because it's being written. But what I'm showing you is this, all these things, all these control devices that they were using. Don't we notice that there are people today like me exposing all of this stuff, knowing depths of truth that we didn't know a couple years back, just a couple years back, 20 years, 30 years ago. When Michael Jackson was little, we didn't know this stuff. It was just hidden behind the scenes, no cameras, no details, no technology of internet to go into their files and break them free. You know what I'm saying? But now we have it all. So maybe these children that they're saying that they created with these mindsets to expose all these things are true. Maybe it's what he said, exactly what he's saying. All of the stuff he's saying makes all the sense in the world to me.
Ensure that the world never finds out how two Anunnaki madmen fooled the world with a story about Jesus and Lucifer to enslave the world. If you haven't caught on, there is only one way to win back the Garden of Eden. Enki and Marduk have exceeded their lifespan and are vulnerable to our unconditional love. The source of their immortality, our souls, is all that is keeping them alive. Our recent surge in spirituality and atheism has weakened them. The Pope is above all current leaders on the planet. He commands the legion of soulless tyrants who have taken over the world to attack us.
Doesn't he?
They have crafted a web of deceit and corruption in the never-ending lust for power and control of the entire planet just to capture souls for the two gods.
Didn't they?
And in doing so, they have enslaved us all with war and a list of unspeakable controls to scramble our gut intuition.
Don't they? Don't they control a lot, the Catholic Church and the Vatican? Don't they control a lot? I mean, they into politics, they into schooling, they into it all. Stem cell research, everything. And from history, they got the Knights Templar killed. They got people burnt. All that. Religion stops government, doesn't it? Back in since that. Come on, guys. It makes perfect sense.
We are bound to them by something called the monetary system, via many avenues: big pharma, taxation, war, healthcare, blah, blah. Value is placed on a worthless object, a simple piece of paper, for example. That object is then provided in great quantity to most anyone with the ability to repay what was borrowed. By charging a substantial fee for such a loan, these tyrants in control of the monetary system are making a huge profit at our expense for doing absolutely nothing. They have found a way to control every aspect of our lives. They control food production and distribution, healthcare,
Don't they?
space programs, knowledge consumption.
Don't they?
They control energy production and distribution.
Don't they? I mean, is he lying? Has he lied to you yet, this man? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm asking for the people. Has this man lied to you, whoever he is? Has he lied so far?
Water, healthcare, education, and a whole long list of other
I hope all you Jesus followers that love Jesus to death, you know, like even I did at one time. Like, I hope all you are catching on and understanding, like opening your mind a little bit, not being too succumb, but seeing how much sense this is making. Seeing how the game played, how we've been fooled. See, when I first let me let this finish, and I'll go into a little
financial
dialogue.
services. And they have introduced a massive array of distractions which draw our attention away from everything they do. TV being one of the most potent distractions of them all, and war as the #1 large bargaining chip. These distractions serve to create an atmosphere of confusion about and detachment from the present moment we all share. In case it may
Don't
have
they?
slipped past you, the present moment is all we have. It is the concrete of creation.
Isn't it?
Though their system of timekeeping lends a hand to distract you from the fact that time doesn't exist,
I believe it does. I don't believe
it is
that's
always
possible.
right now.
I do believe
Right
that though,
now
too.
is the time to face these lies.
What time? It doesn't exist.
Right now is the time to walk away from their churches, their
Time doesn't
banks,
exist.
their corporations that monopolize the food industry, and their set of principles which guide our entire lives.
Now I done stopped eating fast food. I don't eat no fast food. I don't eat nothing. I eat every now and then Chinese chicken wings and fried rice, because I don't eat nothing else Chinese if it ain't a chicken wing, which could even be a rat too. That's a joke. Stop playing, my Chinese followers. I'm just playing. I joke on my own kind too. But I stopped eating fast food. I don't drink soda. I drink two or three drinks with sugar. That's my coffee, my tea, and maybe an iced tea every now and then. You know what I'm saying? But I don't really do sugar besides my donuts. Okay, my donuts. But otherwise than that, like I said, you know, you gotta do the things he's saying. Pull yourself away from all of these things, because this is what they're trying to. This is what keeps you manipulated and kept down. And I took myself away from all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right now it's time to end this nightmare of illusion and deceit. If we choose not to act against these tyrants soon,
Which we're
our
not doing.
fate will be sealed for another 1,000 years, 100 million years, before anyone with the courage to lead this reclamation of planet Earth will rise again.
I'll do it. Here I come, man. I got it,
We are
y'all.
here just as David
Here I
has
come.
sworn to give his life, as many have to prove all we say is real.
Hey, who's David, bro? Please tell me.
How many nightmares or gallons of bloodshed will it take to prove simple proofs to be seen?
Oh, we up to the oil funnels.
Please
Big
understand, our
tankers.
lives are delivered to Earth to free yours. Part 2 ends here. See you soon on the next episode.
So, there you have it, y'all. That's how I check these videos out. Like I said, man, when I first started doing these videos, it was all about seeking truth. It's not about what I believe, because I don't believe nothing anymore. I blanked my mind to have to believe. I used to be a Christian. I used to follow Jesus. I used to be a Jehovah's Witness. And I preached that for 15 years to people the way they preach in the church and everywhere else. All right. And I used to really get people to follow and believe. But I never baptized to Jehovah. And I was always free. Right. So, you know, I brought this channel out because I would notice things about the Bible that didn't seem correct. And that's how I exposed the fact that Jesus was exposing Yahweh as the devil. But then you dig deeper because the shovel never stops moving and the hole is always available to go further. You know, you still dig deeper. You find out that Yahweh wasn't even the God of the Israelites. He came from a whole nother place that we have etched in stone. So it's not even hidden. It's right there in everybody's faces. So it showed me how people could be blind to facts that are right there in their face and don't even check them out, but will go dedicate their whole lives to something like I was doing. So then I said, okay, let me start showing Jehovah and proving that Jehovah is being talked about by Jesus as the devil. And that's when I use that, you can't deny facts. And that's what I use. I did a diligent study of facts where it cannot be denied that this is what Jesus is saying. Therefore, you see my videos. But it made it look like I was believing in Jesus and free in Jesus, which I was. Because it's all about time. Like that guy said, there's no time. I believe there's time. You can't say there's no time because there was a time when you were 7. Now there's a time when you're 50. There was a time is what you got to use. You can't even use a sentence without a time. When, where, how, as time, distance, all of that. But anyway, I'll let that theory pass. You know, but this was what this channel was about. I always had in my heart that Yahweh was evil and doing all these wicked things. And look, I finally could prove it throughout the Bible itself with with help from others that felt the same way. You know, but the funny thing about that is after that, I found out that I'm blaming the God who wasn't even doing it because it wasn't even Yahweh. Yahweh is another culture. He's another culture's whole other culture's God that I didn't even know about. And now I see how they manipulated their story and stole their story from everyone else. Everyone's not doing this homework. I have. And a lot of people have. A lot of people know about Inky and Enlil and them now. They all know. It's kind of out there now. But so you see these things and, you know, it made me start to question. And I also had questions for Mr. Jesus. Because once I've been lied to by a book that I used to put my whole heart and faith in, I have to look at the whole book as skeptical. Yes, I was able to prove that Jesus is exposing Yahweh, even though it wasn't even Yahweh. It was just the Israelites using the false god along with Inky's help. Inky, Yahweh's brother's help, who kept going after Yahweh and them came and did what they did on the planet the first time. So interesting, right? So now that I see these things, it makes me study their culture. I went to study Inky's religion and his people's culture, and I did the whole Sumerian Kings list and everything. So I know now the history of man and how we found skulls way before the Bible. So I put that to rest. But what about Mr. Jesus? How could you put the Bible's Old Testament to rest, but not Mr. Jesus, who still claims certain things in the New Testament about Yahweh? Like, oh, he's Yahweh. You have this, it's Isaiah's verse right here that I'm prophesying about. Oh, you heard the Father say this and this. He said, Jesus says a lot of things about Yahweh and David, all of them. But it's funny because Jesus says David and he says David. Maybe David's with him and Jesus is not. But anyway, so, you know, we see Jesus does say all these mentionings of Yahweh's words back in the days, but then he goes against every one of them in his actions. This does not add up. Your actions don't add up to your words. I don't care what you want to call it, Bible readers, it does not add up. That's why a lot of you watch my channel, because you see it doesn't add up. But what else doesn't add up, Jesus, with you is the things you say compared to what you do. If your God is about love and mercifulness and kindness, you want us to be loving and merciful and kind. You came here and allowed the demon to beat you up and kill you. You had to come here to kill, to die for us, to get us back with your blood and our soul. Really? You have to do all of that from an almighty, powerful Father who has the power to resurrect the dead and come back and do all of this? Or did you come here to lock us in? Did you come here to make us have that final leap of hope and faith and to keep believing? Because what do you say? Get slapped. Turn the other cheek. If someone steals from you, let them take from you. Don't complain. God got your back, right? Work hard. Do 100% no matter what. If even it's because just do it for God. Love your enemies. Love them all. Pray for you. So we could just sit here as weak puppies, right? With no defense and keep waiting and hoping and then die and be recycled, right? Because how long has it been? The kingdom is near. It's right around the corner. That was 2,000 years ago, y'all. The evil still prevails, y'all. The evil's still winning. These people are getting stronger. And they're making up images in the sky with holograms. You don't think they're going to make up a Bible scene? You don't think they're going to make up a movie about the Bible? Did you see Mel Gibson's Christ, Passion of Christ? You see the movies they're making today? Why don't you think they're making this movie for you? To all be like, oh, it's the coming of Christ. It's all this stuff is happening for a reason. No. They told you it's going to be violent in the end so he can kill more people and get more souls. And you can all keep fear and worry. Listen, man, you don't got to believe what I believe. But you cannot deny this stuff that I'm saying. You cannot deny that if you loved your family and cared for them and had the power to stop all of it, that you wouldn't. Who is the head of man? Christ, right? Supposed to be, so allegedly. Who is the head of Christ? God the Father, right? Why they don't think like us? Why would we stop it, right? Because I know everyone listening to me right now would stop any type of pain they could, if they could, for their family. You know you're going to let them go through some mistakes, but you're not going to let them go through drastic pain. Death and killing. You're not going to watch them die, even if you could bring them back. You know what death means and entails. You know what I'm saying? So anyone who's like that knows that. So why, if we have the head of Jesus as our head, why he don't think like that? Why they not here stopping what's going on? Why you let him kill you? What else do you need to see? He killed you. What else do you need to see? But we see it's a whole different story. We're being tested by one source who still does have the ultimate control, obviously. You know, who doesn't have any agenda of good or bad, so they don't know what he's feeling. He's so emotional. And it's really our creators that created us, the immortals that love us and went to him and got him to come change to help out with what's going on. So that's what we got to rely on. But we're giving that energy to another entity, an entity that was made up by two crazy mad scientists of an alien race that controlled us. So I don't know how y'all want to look at that. I would love to hear the comments. I would love to get it started, see what you got to say about this video compared to the first one, because they're both part of the same series. And tell me what you think, man. Let me know. Give me some good feedback. Peace.